Hello everyone, and welcome to Behind the Bulletin. We're glad you're here. Today, we're diving into a story that has sent shockwaves across the entertainment world. A shocking revelation as Zhao Lusi and Leo Wu finally break their silence on the long-rumored first child. Is the truth behind the speculation? Why are they speaking out now? And what really happened behind the scenes? Stay with us as we uncover the facts, the timeline, and the reactions. Right now. For years, it was a rumor that refused to disappear. Whispered first in anonymous forums, then amplified through social media, and eventually dissected by entertainment insiders. This story followed Zhao Lusi and Leo Wu like a shadow. No matter how successful their projects became, no matter how carefully they avoided personal questions, one speculation continued to resurface with unsettling persistence: the existence of a secret first child. At first, it sounded absurd. Two of the most closely watched stars in the industry, bound by contracts, schedules, and public scrutiny, secretly raising a child? Fans laughed it off. Agencies denied it. And both Zhao Lusi and Leo Wu remained silent. But silence, in the world of celebrity culture, has a way of feeding suspicion rather than silencing it. The rumors grew darker over time. A blurred photo here, an alleged eyewitness account there, a timeline that, when pieced together, appeared disturbingly precise. Netizens began analyzing travel schedules, filming gaps, even wardrobe choices. And moments were reinterpreted. Casual smiles scrutinized, and every absence became evidence. What unsettled the public most was not proof, but consistency. The story never fully collapsed. It lingered, evolving, adapting, resurfacing whenever either star stepped into the spotlight. Behind the scenes, pressure mounted. Insiders later revealed that both Zhao Lusi and Leo Wu had repeatedly requested their teams to shut down the narrative quietly, avoiding legal action to prevent drawing more attention. Strategy built on endurance: wait long enough, and the noise would fade. But it didn't. The breaking point came suddenly. During a tightly scheduled promotional period, an unexpected question slipped through during a live interaction. It wasn't aggressive, but it was direct. For a brief second, Zhao Lusi hesitated. Her smile faltered. The pause was short, but the internet noticed. Within hours, the clip had been replayed millions of times, framed as the moment everything changed. The following days were chaos. Entertainment headlines hinted at an imminent response. Industry accounts claimed a coordinated statement was coming. Fans split into camps, those demanding transparency, and those urging respect and privacy. Leo Wu, quickly composed, canceled a public appearance without explanation. Zhao Lusi went completely silent online. Then, without warning, they spoke. Statement did not come through tabloids or third-party sources. It came directly from them. No dramatic press conference. No staged visuals. Just carefully chosen words released simultaneously. Precise and restrained, yet devastating in their impact. Did not confirm what many expected. But they did not deny it either. Instead, they addressed the rumor itself. They spoke of boundaries, of narratives constructed without consent, of how easily speculation becomes truth when repeated often enough. They acknowledged the emotional toll of losing control over one's own life story. The weight of being watched not as artists, but as characters in a fantasy written by others. What stunned the public was not what they said, but how they said it. There was no anger, no defensiveness, exhaustion. Leo Wu admitted that silence had been a mistake. Because it allowed lies to flourish. But because it allowed people to forget that there were real human consequences. Zhao Lusi spoke of anxiety. Of waking up to headlines that felt like accusations. Feeling as though her future had already been decided by strangers. And then came the line that changed everything. There are things in life that do not belong to the public, she said. But there are also rumors so powerful that they begin to rewrite reality. That sentence ignited a storm. Some claimed it was a soft confirmation. Others saw it as a definitive rejection of falsehoods. Most people felt something else entirely: discomfort. Because for the first time, the story was no longer entertaining. Painfully human. In the aftermath, reactions poured in. Support flooded social platforms. Fellow artists spoke out about invasive speculation. Fans issued apologies, admitting they had crossed lines without realizing it. Of course, there were still skeptics. There always are. But the tone had shifted. Curiosity gave way to reflection. Rumored child was no longer the center of the story. The real revelation was something far more unsettling: how easily the public had claimed ownership over lives they only knew from screens. Zhao Lusi and Liu Wu did not offer closure in the traditional sense. There was no final answer. No definitive yes or no. Instead, they reclaimed something far more valuable: the right to define their own truth. And in doing so, they forced the world to confront an uncomfortable question. When does curiosity become cruelty? The silence that followed was different from before. Here, more thoughtful. The rumor may never fully disappear, but the illusion surrounding it has been shattered. And perhaps that, more than any confirmation or denial, was the most shocking revelation of all. The days that followed were unlike anything either of them had experienced before. The entertainment industry did not slow down, but it shifted. Conversations that once thrived on speculation suddenly became cautious. Editors rewrote headlines. Influencers deleted old posts. Comment sections, once filled with bold accusations, quieter, not empty, but uncertain. Yet behind that surface-level calm, something deeper was unfolding. Lucy retreated almost completely from public view. No updates. No appearances. No carefully curated reassurance to fans. Or someone whose career had been built in the spotlight. Fans felt loud. Insiders whispered that she was taking time. But time for what remained unclear. Recovery? Or simply the need to breathe without being observed? Liu Wu, on the other hand, but changed. Those who saw him at private industry events noticed it immediately. He spoke less, listened more. His laughter came slower, and when personal topics surfaced, directed the conversation with practiced ease. It wasn't avoidance. It's control, the kind learned only after losing it. Behind closed doors, both stars were facing the same realization. The story no longer belonged to them alone. Nor could it be taken back. Every rumor leaves residue. Felt it in small, unexpected moments. A casual congratulation that felt misplaced. A question that lingered too long. A look that suggested people thought they knew something, even when they didn't. Most was not the rumor itself, but how easily it had rewritten their identities. They were no longer just actors, singers, or public figures. They had been cast into roles they never auditioned for: parents, liars, victims, conspirators, depending on who is watching. And once a role is assigned, the audience rarely questions it. Industry veterans quietly acknowledged what many had avoided saying out loud. This was not about a child. It was about power. The power of repetition. The power of collective imagination. To turn silence into guilt and privacy into suspicion. For the first time, Zhao Lusi and Liu Wu were not reacting to rumors, they were living inside the consequences of them. Late one evening, Zhao Lusi reportedly asked a single question to a close friend. If I say nothing, they invent a story. Speak, they dissect every word. Where does that leave me? There's no answer. And perhaps that was the most devastating truth of all. Weeks passed, something unexpected happened. Fans began to speak, not about the rumor, but themselves. Apologies surfaced. Confessions followed. People admitted how easily curiosity had turned into entitlement. How just wondering had become participation in something far more harmful. It was not a full reckoning. It was a crack in the narrative. Liu Wu addressed a private gathering with young actors, offering no advice on fame, only a warning. Pick the parts of yourself you cannot replace, he said. Because once the world decides it owns them, getting them back is nearly impossible. Those words were never meant for headlines. But they spread anyway. The story of the rumored first child began to fade, not because it was resolved, but because it no longer satisfied the hunger it once fed. Spectacle had lost its shine. What remained was discomfort and reflection. Unspoken understanding that something irreversible had occurred. They had survived the rumor. But survival, they learned, the same as returning to who you were before. Zhao Lusi and Liu Wu moved forward, not together, not publicly, not dramatically, but deliberately. Step chosen with care. Each silence intentional. Appearance measured. They did not reclaim their story by explaining it. They reclaimed it by refusing to perform it any longer. And in a world that thrives on constant revelation, refusal became the quietest and most powerful statement they had ever made. The rumor may live on in fragments, recycled and reshaped by those who need it to. But the truth, whatever it is, now belongs only to the people living it. First time since the whispers began. That was enough. In the end, this story was never truly about a rumor. It was about the cost of silence, the weight of speculation, and the fragile line between public curiosity and private life. Lucy and Liu Wu did not give the world the answers it demanded. Instead, they offered something far more difficult: restrained dignity, and the courage to reclaim their own narrative without turning it into a performance. As audiences, we are left not with a conclusion, but with a responsibility to question what we consume. Recognize when entertainment crosses into intrusion. To remember that behind every headline are real people living with the consequences of our attention. Thank you for staying with us until the end of this story. Time, your thoughtfulness, and your willingness to look beyond the surface mean more than you know. Has been Behind the Bulletin. We'll continue bringing you stories that ask not only what happened, but why it matters. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.